Miller from Southwestern Missouri, and I'm here to show you my traps and flies and trapping tips. Here's my assistant, Rachel Miller, and if you'll come over here, we'll start out with the staking mechanism. You can use these for anchors, and this is a wooden type stake. It's about 16 inches long. You're only going to be able to use this for about 3 or 4 uses. And steel stakes, this one's almost 2 feet probably, and this one about 15 or 16 inches as well. These ones, there are 2 of them right now, they have a hooked end at the end, so when you put it over the swivel through, you get it insured a lot better than these little knobs at the end. Then we have conibear type traps, and you can see these are the setters. You would put them from each eye hole over way, and you press. You take minimal strength to do that. Here's the trigger, and the dogs exactly on the other side can't really get it up for you. These are J-hooks to help you during the setting time. Then for other anchors such as chains and ropes, do not use rope for experience. They will gnaw the ropes, and I've lost several traps with that. These are chains, as you can see. You know that? Chains like these, you have a longer use time since they have this rubberish covering. It lasts longer, and you can't get rust on them. You can see this one right here. It's about probably 4 feet long. Same as this one. This one's about 7, that's one about 6. Then if you come over here to the baiting, right now we only have jumbo-sized marshmallows you can get at any convenience or grocery stores. And other baits, I use sardines. I buy a small amount of fox urine and peanut butter that's my last option. And you can get lures at different websites, like for instance, you can get some of the websites are F&T, Fur Harvest, and PCS Outdoors, and Fleming Outdoor, and there's numerous amounts you can find on trapping videos. And anyway, lures and animal urines. What I use my animal urines for is to attract them over to my set. Then they see the bait, then they start doing actions. And when I do that, I dig a hole. It's called a dirt hole. You get a hole from about ½ inch to about, could be 4 or 6 inches deep, and some people do only about 2 inches, some people do it about 2 feet. And if you get it too big, you don't want that, because possums and small gray fox, they're pretty skinny, and they'll climb down in there and mess around with you, and probably a bigger chance without them being caught. But anyway, move over here, we'll have snares. Give me some time, I'll rewind this. The reason I do this is easier to keep them, and it's way more organized, because when it comes to trapping, you really want to be neat. And you get snares at, actually a lot of people make their own snares. You can get the cable at hardware stores and such, and you can see, and you can get the parts. A lot of the people get their parts from the websites I was naming down, but let me just get this open. Alright, here's the snare. I do not know exactly why this little nutset dent on inside the snare, but anyway, it came like that when I ordered them from online. I got a dozen of them. Right now I only have 3. And for the different dimensions for the width of animal snares, let's start out with bigger game that would live here in Missouri. You want a big snare close to the ground for a beaver. For a beaver, you only want it about 2 inches off the ground. About 2 inches. What helps me is how long my fingers are. So I use my middle finger here as a good, good little measurement. Then sometimes I use my hand for animals such as for foxes, and there's not much of a difference when you do coyotes, but you want it about twice as far off the ground, so you want it about 12 inches by 12 inches diameter. and about 12 inches off the ground. So when you got it like that, you want it about 12, so from the top of your little sliding thing, it needs to be 2 feet off the ground, but you don't go down to possums, you don't need it very big, you just need it just enough so their head can fit in through. Even if it was smaller, their nose, all that's going to happen is their nose is going to go in there, and like for instance, my hand goes in there and it's widening up as I goes through, then they're going to feel that tug. And possums are not as skittish as, let's say, canine and deer and rabbit, but they're still going to feel nervous there, and they're going to catch themselves. And the normal thing, and the more skittish the animal is, the more likely he's going to die. Raccoons, they have about 50% to die and 50% to live. Coyotes, you're pretty much going to give them to die, unless if you're not careful enough, they'll put their arm through there, then their head, then they won't kill themselves because it's going to go like that. So a possum, you're pretty much going to find them alive there. So if you're setting possum snares, I'd suggest bringing firearms such as a .22 pistol or such. And water animals like the otter, it's real hard to snare otter, so I suggest not put your stress through there, or mink and such, but you can snare muskrat. You don't need muskrat, you don't need cable for muskrat trapping, but you only need some firm wire. But firm wire you can get as the same as you can get cable. You can just get probably 12 gauge or 10 gauge wire at hardware store. But when you put this up, well, anyway, over here, why don't you show them? Over here we have, we'll start from this. This is the dog-proof coon trap. You can see dimensions. Here's the dog, just as these other ones. This would be compressed. Actually, I'll set it for you. Compress. Be careful here, and when you do set it, do not stick your finger down in there. I've had painful experience. It's set. The animal sticks his hand down there, and you can see the little metal stick going down there. The bait's going to be behind it, so when he pulls, it's going to make this go down, releasing the dog and capturing his hand on there. These are actually meant for catching the animals and catching raccoons, and sometimes if raccoons do get caught, they will gnaw their arm off. I've heard of it, and you just want to be careful with it. Here's a chain. You can see there's a different type of chain on these. I don't really know why. See, these are certain kinds. I don't know what they're called. And this is just that regular chain. And leave this set. So then you go up from here, and the Duke #1 coil spring trap, the small sort. Show it to her. You can see here's the dog, the trigger, the pan, the jaws. Here's our little levers, and here's the springs, and here's the base. And there's several Duke #1.5s. You have this one and this one, the same dimensions, but the pan is a little bit bigger. There's the knot, little trigger thing, the dog, and so on. Then show you how to set them in a minute. Then you have the Duke #2. As you can see, they have a different pan shape, sort of like a oval with the edges cut off, and that's new with that. I've never really heard of you actually get 4 coils. These are called the coils. They're really springs, but they're called the coils, and you can get 4 of them to double the strength of the trap. Or it wouldn't really double because the springs are actually about twice the size, and I'm sure you're catching stronger animals such as like wolf and bobcat and coyote, and the same kind of trap, and these are also the same. Then you come over here, the Duke. This is the Duke #3. I do not have the Duke #4 at the time, but you can see it has a real big pan. Like any other ones, it has that thing right here, and the pan only can go so far up. Just stops us up. The big jaws, it has about one edge from another edge. I think about 6.5. This is about, I don't know, 7 or 8. I never really measured. And so I suggest when you are trapping, just don't take a rush on it, and take your time when you are trapping, because you'll regret it later on. Because if you do set a trap, like if you heard of the Durahole sets and you're trapping canine and feline, it is hard to trap them, but you have to have a lot of experience. And if you do catch them or are trapping for them, you can look at any other trapping video about how to set them and other things like that. I'm only going to show you how to actually set it, not do the whole process. And we're going over here to I've already set the dog coon trap. This is the number 1. It's a really small trap. I set them with my hands. You can just put it like this, or sometimes I'll kneel down, push down like that, flip it over, and see that? You can see how it's set, and I just be careful with that. Then you want to adjust your pan until it's level with the jaws, then it's a flat pan. If you can't do it all the way, don't do the rest. As you can see, I haven't adjusted any of these. Actually this one, but this isn't really meant for any large game. This is actually only where you can catch. You could probably catch a small bobcat, but I don't really know. I haven't ever. But these are good for fox, possum, skunk, otter, mink, weasel, and marten, and all those other ones up north right now, and raccoon, and does a really good job, and they're cheap. At the local store I trap and buy these actually. Is called Orson's Farm and Home, and I got this for about $7.55. So if you have enough experience, how I set these off, put my hand like that, and just pull down on the pan, and just be careful, you get pinched by something like that. Then come over here to the number 1.5. These ones can get pretty tough to set. Might be able to have to set them with my hand, so you just get down here, and you get your hands. I use the edges of my hand, not like that. Push down, flip over it like that. Push down farther enough. I use my knees sometimes to help me up. Not enough. Because it's not working right. There we go. It's a little small amount bigger. Just let me adjust it. Just the pan. Be a little bit careful when you do this sort of stuff. That should be enough. I keep my middle finger under it to make it so I don't go too far down and unset, and you can injure yourself doing that. See? Be careful. Sometimes I'll use excuse me, the trap stick to help me out with this. I'll just hit it till this little circle's all the way towards the actual pan it can go, and then I can adjust it. And so you can see I got that one. See, it has the flat pan. It's really good. This one has no really difference, but only difference you have a sure catch on. Not really a sure catch on coyote. You actually have a pretty slim chance of catching it, but still a lot of people like catching these, and these costed about, I think, at the store I was talking about, Orson's, it costed, I think, either $8 or about $12. No, it was $12. It was $12.45, and You can get a few of these, like I have 3 at a time, and set it the same way you do with all the other ones. Just right there. You scare you when you do it at first. Then you come to the Duke number 2s. Have a sure catch on pretty much any fur bear where I live. If you live up north, it might not, you can't catch any like bulls or lynx with it, but I just set it, and I cannot set it on my knee. These are really strong traps, especially when they're new. You just put it down like that, same way I set the number 1.5. Really strong traps. Push down. Same way. You can see has a little bit different way of the jaw going around. It's not an exact circle. On the other hand, these are pretty much exact circle. These ones aren't. Like other brands called the Bridger. So another kind of brands, they have a circle, not a circle, a square jaw spread, and they're really good traps, very high quality. They do cost a little much. You can see the pan, like I was talking about, kind of looks like an oval with the edges cutting off. That's a new on this one, but just set it. These ones will put some vibration through your hands, but just be careful. 1, 2. Then you go get to the Duke number 3. Wish I had the Duke number 4 to show you all that, but how you set these is I'm going to show you how to set them with your feet with the left one. I just put my, some people actually use their heels, but I use my kind of like middle of the upper foot. Down, push down. It's really easy with your feet, but push down like that. Same way. This has a pan, sort of similar to the number 2. And let me adjust that for you. Just get my trap stick. Put that back. It's almost perfect. If you adjust these too much by pushing these forward, this part of the metal, not the dog, you just need it back then. Because if you push the dog, this piece of metal too far towards the pan, then you push the dog too far, then you put it flat. Even if it goes down, it'll still unset, so you've got to be careful with that. Hair triggers. There's a lot of people argue about having hair triggers or big stiff triggers for canine, but you got a hair trigger, the first thing he's noticed, but when you have a hair trigger, he's going to be way more surprised, because the first thing he feels when he steps down on that ground is the big pushing jaws of these big old traps. So if you have a big stiff trigger, he's going to feel that sinking down, then he's going to look down, and he might step up before it unsets on him. So I'd suggest sort of in between a hair and a stiff trigger, just in between is what I like using these traps. And what I think best way to hold the traps while you're doing whatever, but I just hold them right at the base of the chain, right there. Then I hold it and just set it off just like any other trap. Set it like that, and 1, 2. Be careful, you don't want your finger in there. Had experience in. Come over here, and well, I hope you can see part number 2. Thanks for watching. Andrew Miller. Bye. Are you videoing? He's gonna go crazy. Why?
One's funny.
Yeah, it probably is. Just wait for him to die. Can't believe I cut it.
It all promise. See that big loop?